What's up, everyone? This is FP Sticks bringing you another episode of Legendary Battle Strategies, where I go into a deep dive into some games that I've played that I think really feature a lot of high-level gameplay, and I just totally showcase my thought process and why I make the specific gameplay decisions that I do. So I have 3 battles to showcase in this video, and let's jump right into the content here. So in this video, I will be running the Swampert double steel team that was featured in a previous video that I uploaded, and we're just gonna jump right into these battles, and I'm gonna kind of talk through my thought process on this. Definitely some great battles in this game. Okay, Swampert into Shift Tree is so bad. This is a really bad matchup here. Now, there's a case to be made that sometimes when you're running like an ABB line like this, and you want to try to catch a resisted move on one of your steel types, that you stay in with the Swampert. But I think this is a bad play. So what I end up doing is actually going straight into the Reggie, because if my opponent decides to stay in with the Shadow Shift Tree, which they totally could, if I give them an energy advantage, that's really not good for me. So I insta swap to Reggie. I am now hard punished by an Alolan Marowak swap-in. This is one of the hardest counters to Registeel, because all of the moves that you can possibly throw at the AWAC are going to be resisted damage, and if they play this correctly, they are going to leave this matchup with energy stored. So when I'm hard countered in the lead, and then I'm hard countered in the swap, and there's no way that I can regain swap, there's never any point to commit any shields in this matchup. And there's also no real point for me to commit any shields with my Swampert when it eventually comes back in. Even if they get to 2 Shadow Bones here, my only win con, essentially, at this point, I'm thinking is like if Skarmory can somehow sweep their back line with 2 shields, maybe they have like an Azu or something, but their AWAC is going to get a lot of farm off of me coming out of this. I don't want to swap back into my Swampert because I know it's going to be stuck against the Shift Tree again. So I have to commit to mud-shotting down this AWAC. If they throw a Shadow Ball at me, I have to deal with the damage. And they do end up going for Shadow Ball, which is a very smart play on their part. No point in baiting. Now, I have energy loaded. 1 Sludge Wave would one-shot this Shift Tree. I do make a slight misplay here. I throw a Hydro Cannon when I'm 1 mud shot short of the move of the Sludge Wave. And my opponent very smartly does not shield, because they were keeping track of my energy. They knew I did not have Sludge Wave. But I now know that in an endgame scenario, 1 more Hydro will be able to knock out this Shift Tree. Now, Shift Tree already has loaded energy, remember, because it threw a couple Snarls in the opening matchup. It is well past the Leaf Blade here. Why have I not swapped out on the Skarmory? Because right here is where I'm going to attempt to catch a Leaf Blade here. So I'm staying in. Shift Tree already knows that this is a positive matchup for it, so there's no rush for them to throw a move early on, and they knew that I threw a Hydro, so I'm nowhere close to a Sludge Wave. So that's why I'm staying in, farming, and I'm going to make my swap right there. That swap is just purely based on feel. There's no me counting their energy or anything like that. It's purely based on feel, because they were well past the Leaf Blade. Now out comes Shadow Hypno. I'm already down in health, but I'm slightly ahead on energy. And I'm using the 3-turn move of Air Slash against Hypno's 4-turn move of Confusion. And because of the switch in and switch out, there's a little bit of fast move desync here. I need to guarantee that I can try to sneak in a fast move and ensure that they don't get one through. So right there, I'm just tapping. I get the Air Slash through. Now for optimal move timing here, I'm going to throw 1 Air Slash and then throw my Sky Attack. This guarantees that they only get 1 turn's worth of energy. The Hypno alternates between 4 and then 3 and 3 on these elemental punches, so I'm keeping track of my opponent's energy here. Once again, farming, and they throw right when they're getting the energy here. I have to shield this. I have to keep this Skarmory alive. And once again, I'm going to throw 1 Air Slash and then throw the Sky Attack, guaranteeing that they are not getting excess energy through. Shift Tree has a lot of energy still. And right here, I'm looking at the health and I'm noticing that I am going to be able to farm this down before they get a move. I have a Sky Attack loaded, but I instantly go into my Swampert and I'm going to throw this Hydro. This is going to burn the last shield. They are now in a terrible spot because I have the Sky Attack loaded. So the only way they can possibly win this game is if they store a Leaf Blade and a Foul Play, and they're not able to do it. I think they might have been receiving the energy for those back-to-backs right at that Snarl right there. But we're able to come back from a terrible lead, a terrible switch-in, by staying patient with our sack swaps, by having optimal move timing, and kind of thinking through the end game scenario there. It's a very close game. All right, in this next matchup, we have Swampert against Medicham. Medicham leads can mean all sorts of different backlines. I am concerned that there could be a Bastiodon back there. And if that is the case, I need to guarantee that I try to fight to win the lead here. So I'm throwing my first Hydro Cannon after 8 mud shots because it takes 8 counters for the Medicham to get to Psychic, and this is typically where the opponent is going to throw the move. Even if this is Power Up Punch, I'm just going to shield this. They go for Ice Punch. That takes 6 counters, so they're now at 2 counters worth of energy. And so I'm going to throw this Hydro right here, put on some shield pressure, because I do want to fight to win this lead. If it is a Bastiodon in the back, aligning my Registeel with it would be very good. The fact that I see the Medicham in the lead and my Registeel gets to avoid it is also very positive. So I know that my opponent is just going to go straight Ice Punch here. But I overfarmed just slightly and going to be able to get to this Hydro Cannon here. And I'm wondering if they're going to double shield. They do double shield. But I am just barely able to get to this Hydro Cannon here because my opponent did not sneak in too many fast moves in that opening matchup. And this is very, very important because I have eliminated the Medicham. I've won the lead, but shields are down. What comes in? It's a G-Fisk. This is a disaster. This is an absolute disaster. This is terrible for my Reggie, and it's terrible for my Skarmory. But they got 1 mud shot through. So my game plan here is bring out Reggie, farm, and then catch the EQ on the Skarmory because they're going to be inclined to throw very quickly because they're scared of the Focus Blast. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right there. I was very close to Focus Blast, so they needed to throw very quickly. This is a good amount of wasted energy onto my Skarmory, so this does put me in a good position. I have a Flash Cannon loaded on my Reggie, and I'm very close to a Focus Blast. This Air Slash damage that I am doing to this G-Fisk is putting it into Focus Blast range. They are continuing to stay in here, and it makes sense because this is obviously a positive matchup for them, but I am curious as to what is in the back. We've already seen Medicham, and we've seen G-Fisk, so I'm really hoping that my Registeel has some sort of a positive matchup in the back. I throw the Brave Bird pretty quickly because I don't want my opponent to be able to mud shot me down, so this guarantees that the Rock Slides are going to do more damage, and it's going to be much more difficult for them to be able to execute a mud shot down. They cannot store Rock Slide in EQ, so I'm going to throw this Focus Blast immediately before they're able to get to an Earthquake. Assuming that they were at 100 energy, it would take 2 more mud shots for them to get there. So down goes the G-Fisk. What is in the back? It's actually a Vigoroth. And thank goodness we took this to the 0 shield scenario. So honestly, in that opening matchup, it was very, very crucial that I do take it to the 2 shields because this allows me to one-shot the Vigoroth in the end game and be able to take that game. The G-Fisk in the back was very scary, but being able to catch the Earthquake definitely put me at an advantage there. Good game. And in the final match here, we have a Jellicent lead. This is a huge problem for the team, and so typically what I do like to do with these leads is chip it with some Hydro Cannons and eventually make a move into Registeel. Now normally opponents will go for the bigger move here, but this opponent actually baits me with Bubble Beam, which I was extremely surprised by, and this is actually extremely bad for me because now these debuffed Hydro Cannons are nowhere near as threatening. I do end up leaving this match with a Hydro stored once again because I know Swampert will win CMP against most things that are going to come in. But my opponent goes for Bubble Beam here. And once we see what Pokemon comes out, this is actually a big mistake on their part. This is essentially wasted energy, because what they end up bringing in is Obstagoon. Focus Blast is going to one-shot Obstagoon no matter what. And so this attack debuff that they just threw on me is essentially useless energy, because they're still threatened by the Focus Blast, which will be able to one-shot. Now, I know that they're threatened by this, so I am going to go for a Flash Cannon bait on this first move. It just saves me a little bit of energy, but more so it puts more pressure on them to throw their moves earlier and not be able to farm me down. Gonna throw the Flash Cannon here, and I really need to guarantee that I can get to this Focus Blast. I have energy stored on Swampert. My opponent counts very, very well, and they throw right here. Obstagoon does win CMP. I have to shield this, because this Obstagoon is way too healthy. My Swampert has no fast move pressure. My Registeel has no fast move pressure. So if I don't get the shields burnt, or if I don't land these charge moves, this team is not going to function. So I shield that up. I'm really hoping that they let this go through, but already in my head I'm thinking, okay, my clock is up, so if they shield, I have to immediately go back into Swampert and start pressuring them with these Hydro Cannons. So I'm going to farm a little bit more, and then I'm going to throw the Hydro right here. I'm one Mud Shot away from another Hydro Cannon. I know the Jellicent is going to come back in, but I also know that it threw Bubble Beam, so it does not have a move stored quite yet. I throw one Mud Shot, and then I throw for optimal move timing here. Mud Shot against Hex, 2-turn versus 3-turn. And one more Hydro Cannon plus this Mud Shot damage is going to be just enough to knock out this Jellicent. I'm able to get there once again because they threw that Bubble Beam into Registeel, and Swampert does win CMP in this matchup. I still have an Obstagoon that I'm going to have to deal with. So I'm curious as to what they bring out here. They bring out Venusaur. This is absolutely terrible for me. Now, I'm able to get to this Hydro Cannon, and this chip damage that I'm able to get with Hydro right here is actually really, really crucial, because this puts me in a more comfortable farm down range for my Skarmory. Whereas if I'm not able to get off this damage, the energy advantage that this Venusaur has is actually going to be problematic, because it's going to be able to rip off too many Frenzy Plants, and then the energy that the Obstagoon stores is going to be tough. So I recognize that my clock was up. I immediately switch. I'm just farming. I have a Sky Attack stored, but Obstagoon does win CMP against my Skarmory, so I need to keep this energy stored. They swap in the Obstagoon right there, and we desync CMP tie, but I just need to get this Sky Attack off, and then my Skarmory will be able to manage that Venusaur. So Jellicent lead, really terrible. Also the Obstagoon boosted there, which is kind of wild, but Jellicent lead, really terrible, but able to use a team effort, and shielding my Registeel in that secondary matchup was actually very crucial to guarantee that I could burn all those shields. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Legendary Battle Strategies, where we kind of take a deep dive on some of my thought process with these battles. But best of luck out there with your own battles. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you appreciate the content, and I'll see you all in the next video.